Hello everyone. Welcome to the stream. I was intending to have Going's face as the thumbnail, but for some reason it didn't show. It might do, but I have no idea. Either way, yeah. Hello everyone. I'm going to be working on dusttrust again. Um, I was gonna work on chapter 2 like yesterday, but I fell asleep. So, when I woke up, I didn't feel like doing it. And the day before, I actually did get some progress done, and I was gonna work on chapter 2, but instead I worked on chapter 1 more, because I was still intending to change things. At least, the fourth scene in chapter 1, the last one before chapter 2, and yeah, um, that's pretty much it. Um, I am sooner or later intending to uh do chapter 2 today in the stream. I'll have a limited time. I'll have some limited time though because I have to do some schoolwork probably at 4 o'clock. So right now it's 2:44 or something. So have to be on time for that. So then I won't have to worry about it unless I did the schoolwork on stream. But I don't think that'd be very entertaining. So I could just probably maybe finish it, do the work, like, and finish it, and then just, maybe get back onto it. I don't know. It depends. I might probably do it, like, on a little bit more of a, slightly, like, on, like, a Discord server, but besides that, yeah. Without further ado, I think we should probably get to work on this. Now, to show you what I actually changed, it's well, all the way down, to the last chapter. Let me check if it worked. Okay, yep, stream's looking just fine. So yeah, none of this is really different. Now this is where things start to get a bit different. Because I remember when we got here, it was slightly different. Now this, actually, let me go on, DeviantArt specifically so I can demonstrate this, because that's probably where the previous stuff is. Yes, I'm obviously getting recommended Razi. Why else would I not be getting recommended that? Yeah. So, yeah. So let me get here. Yeah, so you can clearly see from here, it's, well, that. It's quite short. Well, if I compare it here, yeah, it's longer. Um, so, yeah. And it's not just longer, oh, just because, but there's actually some content involved with it. So, let me, demonstrate what, we got here. So, what you doing here? I'll have to read this my safe. My safe? What the hell does my safe mean? Don't worry. Yeah. I really need to remove this sooner or later. Whether I like it or not. I don't understand. I need to get this removed. Because I just don't... Thank you. I keep telling myself, but I just don't remove it. Sad music plays sounds were why you died papyrus because human hurted me sounds. Okay, I will get swords and activate angry mode and do things I wouldn't do canonly. That's pretty much pre-leak, I guess. I don't get where he gets the swords, but that's besides the point. I don't think we should really question it. I don't think that's focused on logic. It's on what looks cool. But yeah. Hey, what you doing here? Well, I want to ask you a favor. Besides that much time, well, about that, you were a human track. Well, that is where my favor comes in. If you can't persuade them, how about we get one step ahead of them? Let's do the same thing. Tell me what I'm thinking. Are you seriously proposing that I should kill other monsters? Exactly. Tell me, that's ridiculous. Surely there's another way. Surely there's another way, so they self. Oh yeah, here she literally like mocks him, which I think would might make sense because the kind of character she is. Because Bob, I mean, so basically, Papyrus is basically stating here that like, there's trying to act nice to them isn't really good, or doing anything like that isn't gonna do anything like at all. Sicko mode, yeah. Welcome to the stream. And then Tammy pretty much just mocks him for the notion, but when saying stuff like oh, we can't just be nice to them, but at the same time, then thinking like and then just pretty much saying like there has to be another way other than well, killing, and she pretty much just tells him that now obviously that's not what Papyrus meant, like if there's another way to get around it, but like without hurting anyone, but like at the same time do you seriously have another idea? And then Papyrus is like we can think up on one right now, and then Tommy's like there lies the issue, you don't know how urgent this situation is, we are doing a service for our kind, yet you only care about a few lives. And Papyrus and literally says, justifiably, oh, I'm acting like the human, like, how am I in any way better? And and to be honest, that does make sense. I mean, if you're gonna tackle on to killing things, if you're gonna take down someone that's probably gonna kill everyone, though he doesn't fully know, he hasn't seen it, but I mean, it definitely is gonna happen. But then doing the same thing, sex trust. What the fuck? uh, like like it kind of gets to the point where it's just why are we doing the exact same thing as what they're doing? Like, aren't we supposed to stop them, not actually become them? And then she basically goes on the fact that like there's no other choice, and sometimes the best option isn't well morally correct, and that makes sense. I mean, obviously she's trying to do something that's wrong. There could definitely be a better way, but she's trying to bring in the fact that she obviously wants to manipulate him in order to do that kind of stuff for her own gain. But it's also because it's urgent, and it is legitimately true. She uses a truthful fact in order to try and hide her intention, and I think I like how it's portrayed here. And like, would you have the entire monster race fall into the humans' hands? Like, and of parents are saying, of course not, but and then Timmy interrupts and just saying, if you continue to act like this, you'll be the one putting our kind at risk. Think of your friends. You wouldn't want them to turn to dust. How about your brother too? You wouldn't want to see him perish with the rest. And then after that, like, it's kind of like, she kind of like overloads him in that kind of, what if situation. Obviously, because even if it hasn't happened, she kind of tries to force this fact that, like, what he's doing by stalling what he's doing is not a good idea. So, obviously what he does is, well, he just pretty much just says, and it gets to the point where he's just like, fine, but this is just between us and the human, and that no one else should be involved. And, and Tommy, like, knows this kind of idea, of, like, killing, so, well, I really like the whole line, which I kept intentionally, because it really makes sense, the whole, like, anything to stop no matter the cost, and, yeah, and then he just says, just give me some time, and that's it. I think there's a lot more there than before, because, I mean, if we look before, like, it's pretty much the same thing, except some lines probably changed in some way to slightly be a bit better, but the main issue is just, like, it goes on a bit quick. Like, it's not, like, slow, like, which, unlike, I think a lot of parts are in, like, in this chapter, like, the second chapter, where, like, there's a lot of focus on the characters and how they feel. Oh, yeah, this was a line we were basically changing, like, a crap ton, because we just couldn't decide what was right, so then led to, well, the kind of idea that, like, when there's no other option that's better. Like, even if the better option isn't exactly the most morally correct, at least if it's the best option. Like, yeah, and again, trying to bring in that idea of, like, would you rather have everyone get killed, or would you rather at least kill a few people to make yourself more powerful? I mean, she doesn't clearly state that it does make him more powerful, but it, I mean, in Undertale kind of logic, you could basically say it does, and he kind of learns that when he actually does his first kill, which I'm not exactly sure about, like, my feelings on it, like whether we should actually, like, change it, because because again, the whole issue with being a bit quick is kind of the concept itself. Like, Papyrus has to kill, but there's no established time really that much. I mean, obviously there is, and I mean, definitely, it's there, unlike from some takes I see where they just suddenly go baby rager when that shouldn't really be the case. But yeah, what else do we have? But yeah, it's just here it's just a bit quick. There's no questioning, or there's elaborating more of, like, we can think up or something, and that kind of stuff. I feel like that section is probably better. I mean, I don't know if it's perfect or not. I mean, obviously I know nothing is gonna be perfect, but, like, just at least try and make it as good as I can. I feel like here, I personally think it's good enough. Oh yeah, this was now this chapter 2 scene 1 isn't actually really any character dialogue. It's more of, like, the kind of description of him basically killing for the first time, and knows that, well, it's urgent that he has to do something because, well, when he did kill someone, they did it. There were people who saw it, and obviously that transitions into the second scene where Tommy tries to, obviously, well, get more people around that area so he can kill them. Like, in a way, it's kind of like a joint collaboration, except Tommy isn't exactly directly killing. Instead, she's trying to help someone else do it. And I think there's, like, a lot of it is personally quite interesting. I mean, I just like the fact that, I just like Dungeon's idea of, like, Dust Hill, and have, like, that kind of idea. But, like, I mean, that's not his idea, but, like, the kind of concept that the flowery roll has more to do with the situation. Trust time. I mean, that's funny than dust. That's more funnier than dust nuts. So good on you. Yes, sussy. I want to look at this again just to really make sure. Oh yeah, I really do like using that image of Blizzard. Is my cat meowing? All I hear is wow. And yeah, that's the idea. Like, even when he realizes that this is the option, that he needs to, well, kill, he still feels conflicted. He doesn't want to do it, but he knows he has to anyway. And at first, it's difficult. But obviously, with how stuff like LV works in, like, Undertale, it's that kind of idea of the more you kill, the more, like, the more you actually do anything like killing, the more easier it gets, and the less emotion you'd get from it. And I mean, it's not just that in general. I mean, like, stuff like games, like, portraying, I mean, if they actually care about actions and consequences, like, killing for the first time may seem like something completely, well, completely life-changing. But then you do it more and more, and boom, nothing, just feels nothing. now I'm starting to get really funny like thoughts about the whole the vast thing from Far Cry 3. The whole like, did I ever tell you what the definition of insanity is? I mean, that's kind of what happens here if you really think about it. Like, I mean, in a way, you got three characters, Papyrus, Temmie, and Sans, who pretty much go through the same goal of trying to do something, pretty much over and over again, trying to expect a difference, and, well, in ways they pretty much fail. But that's besides the point. You see, here, Temmie doesn't exactly influence him. She doesn't force him to kill anyone. He does it himself. It's just she also watches to make sure. He obviously doesn't notice her at all. Um and the whole, well, suddenly, I feel like there, like, personally, I think that makes a lot of sense. Like, just, there's like, he's conflicted, so then he just suddenly does it, pretty much kind of out of, like, any thought, and then he realizes people noticed, and, yeah, and then he quickly tries to get away from the situation. Which leads us to the actual scene, which leads us to the second scene with dialogue in it. I feel like if I go down here. Oh no. It was in the really old script. Like, there's like a first draft of it. I actually still probably have it. Where, I mean, if I go to the history of, like, this document, I could probably, retrieve it. But, like, yeah, the first draft of it really tried portraying, like, Alphys as, like, someone, like, really kind of angry. And I mean, it's not bad. I mean, obviously, Undertale, if you're talking about, like, Undertale Undyne, then, like, yeah, she's really mad and all, but, like, she does have those moments. But, I mean, here in, like, the actual draft itself, I think she's one of the characters that got one of the biggest changes in the actual story itself, because, well, she just goes from she's just now, like, someone who tries to really kind of, try and deal with the situation as expected, and, tries to do it normally and a lot of the time. So, yeah. And you'll obviously see that. I mean, obviously, I'm gonna change it, but, like, in the last scene, pretty much with, like, Sons and Authors in chapter 3, that is probably one of the biggest changes, where it came from two people pretty much angry at each other to one pretty much just like, no matter what others said about it, trying to, well, befriend a literal killer. No matter what, she tries, and I mean, she did before, but, like, yeah, like, it doesn't work, and yeah, honestly, you'll see. I mean, there'll probably be dialogue changes and all that. I mean, I haven't really. I mean, in general, chapter 3 is gonna get, like, a big change, but it'll be something. Oh yeah, this is the whole, like, like, include busy. Opens the door. What's the problem? There's a mass murder going on in Snowden. All I saw. I feel like changing that one line, being like, maybe. Yeah, here she's intentionally trying to be, like, really kind of hyperbolic in the way that it's described. They say, oh, there was a monster on the floor about to die, and they told, and all that. Please, you have to help us. How about here, like, she says, but who could have done this? And then she gets the idea like, no, this must have been, yeah, this must have been a human. Artem just DM me. 8 chroma. Yes. Very much. I love the 8 chroma. Let's get retarded. Yeah. Let's get retarded. Yeah. Let's get retarded. Yeah. Let's get retarded. It's the Twitter anthem. Yeah, yeah, and then suddenly like everyone like there's like many monsters just like appear. I mean, honestly, when I also by the way, just to quickly say, when I mention monsters but never exactly specifically saying who, it could mean any monster in the underground. It doesn't really have to be specific. I mean, unless they must be in that area. But like generally, you know, it could mean anyone. So it doesn't have to be a specific one. I mean, it honestly is kind of convenient if we want to do anything like that with a comic. So if that gets made. What the hell's going on? Where is he? Wait, was this changed? Yeah, it was changed. I remember like the whole like Sans was on there as well, but like we kind of brought the idea of like perhaps like he's like intentionally doesn't like it. Kind of just shows more of his like caring nature. You'll see. Please do not worry. I'm struggling with control. Find these. Yeah, we have a lot more of that visual kind of acuity as well, as I like to call it, I guess. Available. Please not kill them. Yeah, she like stresses that a lot. And here. This is the first time we ever see Sans in the story. We don't see him at all in chapter 1. We only see him in this part. And oh, whoops, not there. There. And for very good reason as well, because well, obviously in general, if anyone's seen it, this chapter is kind of generally the kind of whole experience of how he goes through the sort of insanity, and then you will get down here. I mean, obviously, when I show all this isn't exactly it's not actually going to be there at, like, a lot of this is probably going to be changed. Also, there's not going to be a slow on the spotlight like music, if, yeah, just, there's not going to be that at all. Was, but I have a different idea when it comes to that. You'll see when we get to that, which is probably months or never. Oh yeah. Maybe what is the issue today? There's a huge friend. Maybe there's like a huge threat terrorizing the citizens. A what? A threat? It must be a human. I, the magnificent, I shall protect this town. I will be the one to stop them. I will be the one to help them, and I will be the hero of this town. Maybe he says town twice. Obviously, he speaks in that kind of way. I really like writing his dialogue, especially when it comes to this moment, because or like this part, because like it's like he's so obviously like oblivious to what's going on. Like it takes him like being yelled at only to realize, oh, really, that can't be true, and then he just checks. He's just like, oh. It must be a human. I, the magnificent Sand, shall protect this. Shall protect anyone who comes close to harm's way. I will be the one to stop them. I will be the one to help them. I will be the hero of this town. Look, quit your happy talk. The human you're talking about is someone you know. Someone who I know? Of course. Again, like, it's probably overtaking this. How many times do I have to tell her to stop? She always keeps destroying them so quickly. Then gets others to fix them for her. And then just cuts him off and just says, it's Papyrus. They just like, Papyrus? There's no way he would hurt anyone. He's the brother of the Magnificent Sands. Surely he would know better. He's at his sentry post right now. I am 101% sure. And he just goes there. He's just like fucking, oh. It's okay, don't worry. How about not Papyrus, just say like, he must be on one of his long breaks. I'm sure of it. He begins to start like realizing like, wait, what's going on? This isn't normal. And then yeah, we get to this part. You get back to Snowden, and saying that your brother's going around killing monsters and get back. But there's no way he could muster up the intent to hurt anyone. I must come along. I'm his... how about like I come along, I insist. There. If you really want to come, then follow us. And then like to like her just says oh you either get she smirks just like okay, and then like it's just here, boom, that's it. So let me get this straight. There's an inside joke about the dusttrust script and the Shattered Morality script, where Sans from, Undersop and Undertale literally say this exact line, so let me get this straight. This wasn't even intentional, mind you. I was like, I remember like looking at the Shattered Morality script and I was like, wait, this looks similar. And then I look back at this and I'm like, oh my god, did I accidentally make a reference to my own project? I mean, I have no clue how I did, but so let me get this straight. Why would my brother hurt anyone? Like, he tries to like basically ask like, why would he do this? Like, how are we supposed to know? You're just confused as us. But you never met him. You don't know him as much as the Magnificent says. You wouldn't hurt a fly. How would you know? If he ever had a problem, he would have talked to me. Yeah, that's just that didn't happen. Yeah, and he's just like, I just hope he's okay. He's just like, don't worry. All of us hope he's okay. Yeah. That's like the only time he have like one of the only few times he actually says that line, cause overdoing that is a bit stupid. 15.ai is back online. God damn. All right. Never seen. Oh yeah, this is where they get to the whole like ruins door, but like obviously he doesn't come out of there. They just find it, just be like, wonder what this is. They think, oh, my brother could be in there, and then they try they try to open it, but obviously they can't because well it's really stiff, and I mean yeah, and then boom. Knock knock. I love this. I mean, I think I think that's something in line of like something he would do. I mean, obviously he wouldn't like be joking about quite literally everything, but like something about that feels so in line. But also, it kind of, if you really think about it, I think it could make sense because like for someone like him who has now just recently done the whole like killing. I think it would make sense why there's ways of trying to somewhat kind of calm it down, even if well kind of like alleviate from such thoughts as that. And then what's she gonna do? Teach a lesson about manners? And and this is what I wanted to really portray, the kind of contrast between obviously the two guards fighting the pirates and Sans pretty much just not even wanted them to do it, just stop. And again, just and it's just like they seem threatened, so they're ready to do something if it comes to the case. They're just like stop. She dies. Stop, and then yeah, it's yeah. Sounds wrong. Oh yeah. Here's where we want. Oh, I didn't notice those like spaces between that. Was that in the original? It was. We can't make mistakes like that happen. I mean, obviously it's not fully finished yet, but still. Um. So yeah, if you remember, if you remember dusttrust and all that, like the whole like panels of like him like coming up with like like a sharp like bone, which is like a kind of, it's like a knife looking thing, not exactly, but that. I wanted to exactly kind of imitate that kind of look. I should have to do dude. Yeah, this is what I really like because he doesn't know what's going on, but he asks that there has surely there's another way, and yeah, and then he quite literally repeats what Tommy says, and I think that would make sense considering you know what just happened. God, it's really hard for me to speak. My throat is a bit ugh. It's just talking a lot. I mean, so much the cost. Oh yeah, and this is where we get I remember there's like, I don't know if this was actually here. I don't. Yeah, it wasn't. I remember like in the last, in like the first draft, he was like, no, and then he just braces himself. A bit too silly there. Just him just bracing. That would probably just make sense. And then boom. Uh-oh, he felt pain. Uh-oh, pain. Oh yeah, I don't know if I've actually ever said this before, but I I really thank Sego for kind of helping me with the way of like sounds speaking here, like underswap sounds. I think it really helped. I mean, obviously he didn't write it, but like he did certainly help me with kind of the ways he would say stuff, and obviously it's really fun because you gotta like you have to like portray his sort of like innocence as well as that sort of like, kind of like he has, of course, a bit of like obliviousness about what's really going on. Because I mean, obviously he does know some things, but really somewhat, but like not exactly. So, but yeah, pretty much most of the time he's just oblivious, and then he tries to help. And yeah, it's just like, look, it's too late, and now this is where it's really hard to actually, like, if we went through the cannon swap logic, this would be impossible. If Sam seriously only dealt one damage and didn't have karma or so, or did have karma. I mean, if he didn't, then it would make this completely impossible. But, like, in general, the kind of whole, like, one attack thing is a bit kind of ridiculous when you talk about cannon swap. There are things about cannon swap which are a little bit hard to, like, really work with or get around, because, like, you can't have him just die in one hit. Like, or if so, at least, he doesn't get hit until he, levels up and actually, gets more health or something. I don't know, but like, it's really hard because when people like think like what I'm doing is canon swap, it really isn't. Like, it does use the canon swap ideas because in a way there's not really a lot of things that you could really work off of, but at the same time you can't exactly do much with it in some areas because it can be very restrictive. Which is ironic, because there's loads of people who'd say stuff like, oh, well, trying to respect Undertale means that it's creatively restrictive, which it isn't. People are just being completely blind to the fact that, you don't have to write something that's Undertale, but you can respect it. I mean, like I said, if it's an AU, then I feel like it's more likely you can get away with it. Because, well, you could easily do stuff like that, but stuff like an alternate timeline which quite literally uses the concepts from the original game, like, if you're not gonna use them and completely ignore it, then I'm sorry, but you're literally not making something that goes aligned with the original. Like, people can say what they want, but it is ironic when people say using Undertale is creatively restrictive when you look at a project like dusttrust, which is completely the opposite of that. And, well, that's creatively restrictive in a lot of different ways. And I know people might accuse me of saying stuff like, oh, well, that's because you're trying to stick to the original. And it's like, yeah, because that's exactly what the original's about. Like, people don't seem to understand what made Undertale special, but rather go ahead and, like, say these random things like, oh, well, if you're not gonna respect canon, if you want everything to be canon, then, oh, I don't know why you're even trying to look at fan games. They're not canon. And they don't have to be. No fan game is gonna be better than Undertale, really, personally. But there are ways of doing it that respects the original and adds something new to it. Otherwise, what's the point? If you're really gonna make something that adds nothing to the original, then that's just the same as making nothing. Because, I see making fan games as an interesting opportunity to expand on the original, or at least look upon areas that the original didn't look at. And, the only real good fan games I could really say, like, again, I'm not really someone who's a big fan of, like, Undertale fan games for the majority of the time. Like, yeah, it's not as bad, but as people say, but at the same time, I don't get how, honestly, I don't want to talk about it that much, but, like, I don't get why people think Last Breath is actually good. It really isn't. people saying stuff like, "Oh, it's not like you can make anything better." I understand why I understand that dishing out criticism is easier than actually fixing them. But saying it's not like you can make anything better is not a way of deflecting criticism. You see, here's how you actually take criticism. If it's criticism that you can actually work on and actually perhaps fix, you accept it and do it. Obviously, doing the fixes is a lot harder than dishing out the criticism, but the criticism is important. Now, I understand I've been a bit harsh for Last Breath, but that's kind of because a lot of the fans are retarded. And that's, well, why I sometimes act in a silly way when it comes to that kind of stuff. Here, for instance, I'll take this guy, because I use him a lot because I really like his criticism. But, hey, there are a couple of things that, there are some things that should be questioned. There are a little bit things here that I have to fix. Here, 2 I have to fix. If I'm someone like Zerjox, no offense to him now, but at the same time I really don't know, because I haven't really talked to him for a long time. But if you're going to talk about Zerjox ages ago, in that kind of way, like when Last Breath got popular, and people dished out criticism, he basically ignored it. Like, he'd just always think, "Oh, Last Breath is fantastic." It really isn't, but that's besides the point. That's the exact issue. Like, when I see criticism, I think it's great. But there is also the other side, where people just trash on you for trying, and it's stupid. And I'm gonna mention someone, because first of all, I swear they haven't even seen the story, but even if they did, it was the first draft of it probably, so because it was said probably at the time when the whole draft of it wasn't out yet, this version. I remember when Treo basically, from what I heard, was shitting all over me for my writing that I did ages ago for pre-leak. I don't get it. I don't know. I don't understand why people think, oh, I wrote one thing in a project ages ago. Mind you, wasn't even finished. Yeah, apparently that means I'm a terrible person. It's a bit silly. The only reason I wanted to make this was because I can show people how much I can improve. And personally, I think it is an improvement already. Not just for, dusttrust, but, in general, just, writing. But yeah, listening to criticism is a part of the learning process. And it's not just the learning process. It's... How do I say it? It's not just the learning process, but, it's quite literally how you improve and how you actually make people like you. If you're just going to be someone who doesn't listen to criticism and tries... either way, excusing it in the most ridiculous way, or basically trying to say stuff like, "Oh, it's not like you can make anything better," it's a bit stupid. That's not how you do things. I wish people were more like that. Like Mr. K's. I really like the fact that he listened to my criticism of, some aspects of Wonderful Idea on his project. He fixed them, which is more than enough. I like the fact not only did he listen to it, he also gave some points which I personally, which I look back to and think, maybe I could have made a little bit more adjustments to it, or maybe reconsidered it, like my Delta Gaster argument, which is, I'm still not a fan of the design, but, it could be worse, so, I'm not really too much of a I honestly don't really care that much. The whole, first car thing, I think I should have questioned more about, if they're gonna be different heights, then how are they gonna physically change throughout the story? That was more so I wanted to question, but I kind of questioned it, despite the fact that in Undertale it does kind of happen, but, at the very end, it's a very sudden thing, not a gradual thing, but, I do see the idea. But yeah, like, I took criticism from the critique I gave of wonderful idea. There were some points I recognized and points he recognized. We both mutually developed our understanding. And then you have people who ignore criticism, or people who give out too harsh criticism that makes you really feel demotivated. Like, tell me, because again, if there's any problems, I mean, I'm literally writing it right now. If there's anything, I mean, I'm surprised there are people who are even looking at the videos already, of my stream, so that's great. And I mean, I'm not trying to bring offense to anyone, like I said about Zerjox, that was probably, I don't know now, but, I'm talking about past him. I don't know about him now, because I haven't really talked to him at all. But just remember that, I'm talking about, people giving, just don't ignore it. Like, I'm not just talking about, it's them. In general, just listen to criticism. Or what? Oh yeah, here. Oh yeah, sounds just pretty much, just as you need help, it's not too late. I don't like this line, really. Well said. My throat isn't exactly the best. I'm surprised. I'm surprised. I sometimes have to think through things, so I have to pause for a moment. But thanks. I know you want. And then, well, he oofing dies. Oh yeah, I have half an hour or something. Give me a second, I'll probably need to get a drink, because I'm not, it's really, I haven't really had a drink in a while, so just wait a second. Alright, back. Yeah, it happens. Yeah, here. Oh yeah, this scene. This is actually an added scene. This wasn't in the first draft, so that was something. And right now, I have plans of chapter 3 probably using a very similar kind of scene to something like this, in a way. I mean, it's gonna be split into sections, but Alpha's like, it's just in a house, and then boom, all of a sudden it's just killing people. Wait, what? You and like, wait, what? And then like she basically goes on, like, basically talking about it, but she's already doing stuff like with Napsaton and all that. While the camera is there with like Sans actually killing, and yeah, she's just completely shocked about what's going on, and she tries her hardest to pretty much urge her not to continue, and that she can turn things around, but she explicitly knows that there's nothing. She pretty much carries on anyway, and just says there's no way, like your best bet is just to take him out when possible, but which she doesn't do. But that's besides the point. That's a completely different scene. So this is where the first bit begins. If you remember this part. Oh yeah, and then here, boom. Yeah, she comes in at the exact moment when this happens, so that's interesting. What the hell just happened? Why is that? Like, how about he's never like that? He's never like that. What just happened? Tree. Something doesn't feel right. I'll probably look back at this in a bit. Maybe it's short. But yeah. I'm not 100% sure. I'll probably have to look back at that. Maybe off stream I'll perhaps look at it. Because I'm still something about it. I'm not sure. If again, it might be because might be a bit short, but anyway. Let me make a comment here. This is why I like Google Docs a lot. Boom. You see, I can go back to it, and I can do stuff. I'll probably do that. So, oh yeah, this is where we actually see him, and yeah. Yeah, immediately sees just like, how are you here? Maybe she says something like, you do realize your door wasn't locked, right? Wasn't 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 locked, right? Oh my god, I think I'm having a bit. Oh. You do realize your door wasn't locked, right? Besides, I was only concerned for you. Maybe like someone slamming. Anyways, what's the problem? And then she didn't say anything. Then she noticed something and be like, hmm? And then, like, you know, he's saying, what's that in your hand? Now, obviously, he doesn't, like, hide it or whatever, because, like, he doesn't even, because he, like, doesn't really know what it is, really. Like, he never really notices it exactly. Um, but yeah, like, or, like, you know, how that's, like, you know, a kind of, like, you know, like, you know, kind of, like, you know, emblems, like, you know, that they're, you know, that it's, you know, connotates to death in that way, like, or killed someone. It's dust. What do you find in papyrus? Yeah, it's just like, and then he starts to get concerned, and it's just, yes, we did find him, man. And then it's just, and you killed him? Like, he starts to, like, she starts to suggest that, because, I mean, in actuality, she kind of tries to, like, you know, she's probably, like, watching throughout. I mean, obviously she would, but, like, yeah, I think. And you killed him? Look, don't hide things from me. If anything, I'm rather impressed. And it sounds just like, impressed? How could you be impressed? Well, it's a very brave choice. Maybe you shouldn't just say, oh, brave. Um, how about, like, maybe just, he doesn't say anything. Maybe just says something like, if anything, I'm rather impressed. That was brave coming from you. Brave? But he was my brother. He was confused. Oh, yeah. I remember. We need to change this because he did say something like, why don't you carry on what he started? Which was actually a really old thing that he said, which, of course, he doesn't really say. Okay, that's something we're gonna have to change. You know what he said. That's gonna be something. So, maybe there's a moment where she kind of implies that, and then he's like, you know, how did you know? I'll leave that because I feel like that could work. But ooh, I did not notice that. Brave, but he was my brother. He was confused. But he is my brother. He was confused. I knew that. I knew that he was very confused. You know, but I knew that he was very confused. Something doesn't feel right. That was brave coming from you. Brave, but he's my brother. Oh, he wasn't a threat. He was very he was just confused. Yeah, that fits a bit better. Yeah, you have to you have to really think about this when you come to writing it. Listen, did you not notice that Snowden that that a lockdown occurred over this? How about, like, happened over this? Listen, did you not notice that a lockdown happened over this? There were deaths left, right, and center. I'm sure he wasn't confused. Then why did he do that? Then why would he do that? Then why would he do that? And then how about, like, he, like, kind of, like, pauses for a moment, just, like, be, like, trying to think about it, and then just says, you know, something like, he was only defending himself. Then why did he do that? No. Oh no, he shouldn't be he shouldn't be speaking like that. Then why did he do that? No. This must have... No. No. He must have He must have tried defending himself. Didn't he initially... I'm trying to figure out what he should say here. What she should say here. No, he must have tried defending himself. I was thinking of maybe saying something like, defending from what? And then, like, you know... Yeah. Maybe, yeah, that could work. Maybe, like, from what? He didn't try to attack them first, did he? Then why did he do that? No. He must have tried defending himself. From what? He didn't try to attack them first, did he? I'm sure he wasn't confused. Then why did he do that? No, he must have tried defending himself. From what? I don't know. I just don't know. Like, maybe he doesn't say anything at first and then just says, like, oh, I'm really stuck in words right now. Then why would he do that? Um, I'm sorry. I'm really stuck on what to say right now. Listen. Did you not notice that a lockdown happened over this? No, that's not an center. I'm sure he wasn't confused. Then why would he do that? Maybe, how about instead of this, like, Timmy says something like, maybe along the lines of, like, like, something must have scared him. Ah, here's how we can get stuff. Then why would he do that? Perhaps he was scared of something. But who? Because, I mean, obviously he can't get the point already. Like, he needs to, like, like, really kind of, like, learn for himself, like, sooner or later there's a human going around. And, perhaps he was scared of something. Perhaps he was scared of something. Scared of what? And then he maybe thinks for a moment, and maybe goes, maybe says something like, how about, like, maybe says that, like, scared of what? And then Timmy, like, says something like, maybe those guards scared him. Maybe those guards scared him enough to do that. And then Sans maybe like Sans says something like, "Wait a minute. How do you know? I don't remember you being there at all." Maybe instead of saying like, that's not important, she tries to pretty much make like a fake kind of justification, says something like, maybe here, like, she says something like, I was only guessing, like, I think that makes sense, like, oh. I was just making a guess. And then, like, because we don't exactly have the whole kind of, dialogue that kind of says it, but she's obviously lying, so maybe she, like, kind of, maybe in the visual sort of cue, she kind of tips it off, like, she's basically trying to lie. I mean, obviously, he doesn't notice it, but, like, she kind of, like, makes smirks or something like that. I was just making a guess. It's getting really close to 4 o'clock, which is a little bit of an issue. I was just making a guess. I was just making a guess. I was just making a guess. We need something to really tip him off, like, it's like, that really gets to him, because, like, I don't know, I have to think. Even if... Why would he kill them? He was probably defending himself. Why else would we... Why else would he do that? What do you know? I don't remember you being there at all. I was just making a guess. Besides, even if he was scared, why would he kill them? He was probably defending himself. Why else would he do that? He was probably defending himself. Why else would he do that? Oh yeah, let me remove that, because that's pretty much done. If we just... That, dude. Oops, do that. I'll probably go a little bit further out of 4 o'clock. I'll probably just try and get this done as soon as possible, and then boom. Shouldn't take too long now. He was probably defending himself. Why else would he do that? He was probably defending himself. He was probably defending himself. But then why go after me? He was probably defending himself. Then, yeah, and then he questions like, then why did he try to attack me? No. He was probably defending himself. Besides, even if he was scared, why would he kill them? He was probably defending himself. Then why did he try to attack me? Maybe he thought you would attack him too. Maybe he thought he would attack him too. And he was probably defending himself. Then why did he try to attack me? Maybe he thought he would attack you too. But those guys were ready to attack him. Not me. Of course he has the right to defend. Of course he would defend himself. Let me ask you something. What would you do if you were Papyrus? I would defend myself too. Think about that for a second. Think about that. Think about that. What would you do if you were Papyrus? I would defend myself too. Think about that. What happened as a result of that? And then, like, he starts to realize that he starts to realize that, she's pretty much just telling him, like, trying to go and say that, you'd basically kill him. Like, he clearly struggles to, say anything there. And then, yeah, then he says something that, it was an accident. Accident or not, he's still dead. I won't change anytime soon. But I wanted to help him. I like this. Maybe like he pretty much just tells us to like leave her alone, and then just says like you know, then it's just like fine, fine. I'll talk to you in a bit, or something. Oh yeah, I wanted to help him. Dust nuts. Oh, you came at the wrong time because I'm literally just about to finish streaming, which is a bit unfortunate. I mean, I'll probably be doing a bit of changes like off screen as well soon. So you know, I could probably. I mean, I'll need to get that fifth scene fixed because I said something about it being a bit too short right here. But that's pretty much it. Um. Oh yeah, this is where we were. We were gonna change this line. I wanted to help him. Well, you're a little too late for that. You're gonna have to worry about more thing. You're gonna have to worry about other issues later. Well, you're a little too late for that. You're gonna have to worry about that. Hmm. Besides, you'll have to worry about that later. You have other issues. You have other issues to deal with. I'll leave you to that. But I want to help him. Well, you're a little too late for that. Besides, you have to worry about that later. You have other issues to deal with. I'll leave you. Yeah, I think that's a bit better. I mean, the reason why I said, like, you're a little too late for that, I mean, partially because, she's sarcastic. Like, it's obviously, like, her part of, like, sarcasm in some way, but. Ah, that fits too. Maybe, but I wanted to help him. Yeah. I think, yeah, then where is he now? Besides, you'll have to worry about that later. You have other issues to deal with. Yeah, it sounds like, what issues? Maybe, like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? Yeah, I was gonna do something like that. I was just trying to look up before. Hold on. Yeah, I'll do something similar to that. You'll get to that when you see it. Maybe like you'll know when we get there. And then, obviously, Sans doesn't take notice of it, but, like, she pretty much, but it's kind of like a subtle nod that, like, well, she's gonna, like, there's also gonna be involvement with her, but, yeah. Oh yeah, that has to change. The description is a bit different, so, yeah, and then we just get the transition to the bakery, which, I'll look at in a bit, but yeah, yeah. Sorry, it's a little bit short. Had to end it here, but I have some schoolwork to do. So, thank you all for watching, and yeah, obviously, I'll leave all the streams up. So if anyone wants to look at it and see if there's perhaps any more things I could probably do, then yeah, go ahead. As he sits on his bed for a moment, contemplating more. Just yeah, there we go. Yeah, so now probably just yeah, I'll probably conclude it there for now. But yeah, again, I'll do changes like to as always away and then showcase what I did, see if there's any changes there. But yeah, thank you all for watching. And yeah, I'll see you all later.